Yes, I'm live here on the set, on the studio. We got a special guest appearance today, and we got Don Ray May that's coming in just a few moments, but she's chilling out right now. She's decompressing. We just finished doing the morning show, and you're wondering why I'm here with this mask on here. It's kind of a mask wearing kind of society now. Uh, God is good. Can we see that? Is that up there for everybody to see? Okay, taking that thing off. All right, so welcome to the Erskin Music Show for today. Love the fact that you guys are all tuning in here. Get past all that introductory stuff here and the countdowns and all this nonsense. We're jumping on the radio. It's live, or I should say the live stream. The live stream is live, and we're excited that you guys are joining us here today. We are racing forward in this edition, trying to get to the next guest here. But before we do that, there's got a couple of housekeeping notes here. I wanted to let you guys know that the comment section is turned on. So for those of you who would like to make your snarky comments, the snarkier, the better. Please show up and do your best. All right, so that part of the family is welcomed in. We're welcoming a new audience here that generally tries to implant some kind of virus every time that I appear, and that is our Twitch audience. Hello, Twitch guys. Hope you guys are having a great day today, playing video games and watching the Erskin Music Show. Hey, that's what we do on the Wednesday and Thursday edition of this show. Wednesday, I don't normally have a guest. I had Arnell that was here yesterday. He did a fantastic job. Thursday, I generally have a guest, and today our special guest is going to be Don Ray May. Now, for those of you that may have listened to the morning show in the Nashville area, 98.7, 91.7, and AM 1200, you guys heard me for the last 3 hours. So you're probably sick of me. That's probably why there's no people who are tuning into this at this point, because you've been listening to me all morning go off on various subjects. I was extremely nice on the radio this morning, and I did not use the censorship button at all. None had to be used for me. I was under control. I was completely a good boy the entire time that I was on the radio today. And so, censorship button is in effect here now. But no, it's going to be a great show today. Thank you guys for joining us so much. We are looking forward to, talking a little bit some of the current issues that are going on here. And if I'm going to use this camera, man, we're going to have to get right with the world. Just have to get right with the Lord, because this camera angle is not doing it for me today. Okay, hang on a second, people. Hang on a second. All right. Big Head is back in the Nashville studio where he was yesterday looking at me. Want to begin with a devotional thought for today. Race ahead to that. Here's what I got to say. If you can't figure out how important this is, then you're not listening. Now, I want to make clear to you, this is Paul speaking in 1 Corinthians chapter 15. Now, I want to make clear for you, brothers and sisters, the gospel I preach to you, which I received on which you have taken your stand, and by which you are being saved, if you hold to the message that I preach to you, unless you believe in vain. For I pass on to you as of most important, which I also received, that Christ died for our sins according to the scriptures, that he was buried, and that he was raised on the third day according to the scriptures, and that he appeared to Cephas and then to the 12. Then he appeared to over 500 brothers and sisters at one time. Most of them are still alive, but some have fallen asleep. Then he appeared to James, then to the apostles. Last of all, as to one born at the wrong time, he also appeared to me. And then he goes on and talks about a little bit of his credentials or lack thereof. But man, this is the resurrection of Jesus Christ. This is high time for us to celebrate who he is and what it is that he's done. And so we're getting a lot of the understanding of who Christ is, and that's being put before us this week as we celebrate Resurrection Sunday and Easter, and it's coming up this year. And man, it's been an engaging last year, has it not? Has it not? Rock and Ron says he's hanging on, he's hanging in there. He says he knows the things that are most important out there. Do you guys know those things that are most important? We talk about priorities, and we talk about focus, and we talk about getting our head in the game. But this is something that you're not going to be able to cancel. Cancel culture, not applied to this situation. It has been tried before. And I would just say to anybody who's out there is like, the resurrection is not that important. Jesus is not that important. We're going to cancel that out. Jesus was a racist. I've heard silly things like that. Stop it. That's goofy. That's goofy. quote from my boy Ruslan. But yes, he is risen, and he is risen indeed. Come on, man. You guys are point counterpoint. Let's just get a whole group of people who are he is risen. He is risen indeed. Just fill up the comment section, man. I'll throw you guys up on the screen. Jeff, boom. Ron, boom, boom. See, that's how we can do that. I'm the wheels of steel here today. But at any rate, this wouldn't be an Erskin Music Show without the Dolphin. And we're going to bring in the cornhole expert here in just a moment here. And we're going to talk a little bit about the derivation of that game and the word. And so thank you guys for joining me today. As I said before, just a quick devotion to let us know that there's tearing up my camera. There are some things that are supremely important that we need to get to. And the resurrection of Jesus Christ is one of those things. All right. Come on now. Don't let me down now. Literally, don't let me down. Yeah. So I'm trying to get this right. This is my secondary camera because the other camera was not working this morning. Oh, crying in my spilled milk. No, we're just going to keep pressing on with the show. And the other camera looks great, but the other camera's not working. So that's what you get. Anyway, we are cruising along in the show here. And man, great discussions yesterday. You guys like Arnell. I don't know if you guys got a chance to listen to that, but Arnell. Okay, so Arnell was only going to be on for about 5 minutes. Arnell was probably on for about 20 minutes yesterday because every time I went to say, okay, Arnell, see you later, click him off the screen. Here's Arnell dropping some more things, especially when it relates to Asian violence and, you know, just letting people know, hey, this is the truth. This is what's going on, and we need press toward forgiveness instead of holding a grudge. We need to look toward Christ. Hey, look, what is this? There's somebody at the door. Should we get people out there who are speaking English and Spanish? Let's go. Should we open the door? It could be anybody at the door. You never know. You never know. Stranger danger. But now we're going to let somebody come in the room here today. It is. Yeah. Well, you need to do the. But I'm shorter than you. Yeah. Do the chair. You just come up in here and. Is there a microphone? Well, this is we're sharing the microphone because today. Yes, this is family episode here. It's family day. And normally I have a reference speaker here that's kind of like make it kind of here.
What? You have a what?
A reference, kind of like you had the reference speakers up there. We
okay.
Yeah, we just got.
I can sit. I'm looking down.
No. You need to look it down at this one because although that camera looks good, that camera's not working.
Hey, I'm taller than you for one time in my life.
There you go. If this camera, come on, camera, work.
Yeah, I'm not good at the camera anyway.
Did you look up at the camera?
Look at the camera. Look at the camera.
Oh, it's working. It's working now.
I'm working at this.
And you're looking up at the camera?
Mm-hmm. What you been talking about? Because I've been like outside of the door before the doorbell rang.
I haven't been saying anything. I've been talking about nothing important because I've only been talking about the resurrection. That was really actually just our that was just our devotion. We were talking about things of first importance. And for those of you that don't know Don Ray May, can you tell us a little bit about who you are? I don't know why you wouldn't know who she is.
You're biased. But I've always liked that about you.
My people are my people.
My hubby is Ben, and I've been married to him for almost 29 years. And I'm mama to Alex, who is Alexandria, and Micah and Hannah. They are 25, 20, and 14. And that's my biggest claim to fame is those 4 people right there. And then I get to serve on the team at Moody Radio.
Oh, you skipped over something very important.
Based outside.
You skipped over something very important. Pepper.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Here's a picture of Pepper. Yeah. She's the itty bitty baby that is our little furry baby. So yes, there is.
Will that show up on the screen?
That's a good question. She's on my.
Now, if you hit the Wi-Fi, then we're all going.
Oh, that's right. We are on the spot, aren't we? So, there's the Pepper. Let's see. Can you see the pepper?
Oh, the pepper.
The pepper.
Oh,
that's right there. Yeah. So now you've seen all the important things for the day.
That's the claim to fame right there. That's the family and the dog.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes will introduce myself by simply saying I'm a man who has a border collie.
I have exception with that though, because Harriet did not make the video. And there's an imposter, Harriet.
Which video? Harriet has been in some videos.
Harriet was not in the latest video I saw, and now you're going to ask me which song. You're on a farm, and there's
That was okay.
Right?
Yeah. Well, so that was some of the stuff for Consensus Media and those guys.
Harriet was not in the video.
Harriet was not out there at that shoot that day. That was those people's dog.
Has Harriet seen the video?
I don't know if Harriet watches videos.
Pepper does.
She doesn't watch many
Pepper
videos.
loves church. If we do church at home and we sit on the couch, you want to talk about important things? The dog likes to sit there. It's nap time for her, but she knows exactly where she's supposed to be when I say it's church time.
This is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a glare on my face here. I can't. Do I need to get up where you're at?
We need to turn this
That's
desk.
where.
Yeah. Well, my hair has disappeared, so we need to turn the desk to where the natural light comes and hits.
I don't know how to.
Faces.
Because if I'm here, then this is way better than down there.
This chair is down as low as I possibly can.
What's funny about this is that you do radio all the time, and I do live stream all the time. It looks like this is our first day ever doing anything. Is this a live stream? What is that? A camera right there? Oh boy!
And you called in a novice, so
we just been on the air for 3 hours, and so it was a lot of fun, a lot of good discussions there, and we're actually going to continue some of those discussions if you didn't get a chance to hear.
Should we go get you a Sears and Roebuck?
I don't know how to work this chair. I'm out of my element. If you guys don't know, I'm at the Moody Studios here in Smyrna, Tennessee, and this is my setup for today. You know, you guys have seen me broadcast from hotel rooms on location. I've done a lot of different things to make the show happen because I'm committed to you guys and this audience. On a Thursday, we're gonna have a special guest, but I mean, I'm out of my accommodations, and so do I sit on the corner?
You know what? You could put that speaker in that chair, and that would give you quite a bit of height.
That would do it, but that would be too much.
Okay, if you think so.
This is.
That is not going to hold. You won't have to go to the gym today.
It is not. So anyway,
it'll have to be what it is.
We started a pretty, robust conversation yesterday about cornhole. And
I missed that.
I hesitated to even say your name because you and Ben, they're hustlers when it comes to cornhole. Don't ever play these guys because they are good. I brought out you guys saw it yesterday on the set. I had some little custom cornhole boards, Erskin music coming out there, profiling and styling cool. And everything. Yeah, and
I love it.
Oh, looking like I know how to play. Man, they put that to rest quickly. And they creamed us. And it's like, okay, so maybe that was beginner's look. And then they creamed us again. I think you guys just for good measure creamed us one last time.
It's usually best out of 3.
Yeah. Well, it was just 3 out of 0.
And have you been practicing? Because during quarantine, this is what we did. We pulled out the cornhole game in the backyard, and that's what we did.
Now, I have a conflict of interest. And before we get to some of the serious topics that we want to deal with today, I heard you say something about Midwesterners before about calling it bags.
So, we have, I guess he's still a new co-host here at the studio, and they just moved from Chicago. And both he and his wife call it bags, and their kids call it bags. And I'm like, what?
And they're good too.
About? Well, I was just going to tell you, don't play them. They will.
Don't play them, and then really don't play the other co-host.
Good. They are super
and
good.
Competitive, from what I understand.
Very, very competitive. But they call it bags, and they came down here to Tennessee, and I said, don't let your children go to school and call it bags.
They're gonna get laughed off the playground.
Let them call it cornhole.
Look at these people.
So,
but I got kind of a conflict of interest. I grew up playing cornhole.
Okay.
But it wasn't the game that you now describe as cornhole.
Oh, what was
it? It was a completely different game, and it was totally inappropriate.
Oh, well then don't tell us.
Yeah. And I'll just simply say that every time I hear that name, I start laughing. The bad Erskin side of me giggles a little bit.
The 9-year-old Erskin.
the 9-year-old trapped inside giggles a little bit when I hear the name because I'm like, we can't possibly be playing this game.
I see.
And so, yeah. So I think I might have to start calling it bags just because in my own mind, there's an association that will not let me think this is a family-friendly game that should be played fun for this and safe for the whole family.
Well, I may have to adjust to bags if it's that bad, but I don't know if I can.
Oh, so anyway, that's what we're getting into, and so thank you guys, especially. I have a whole cadre of people who call me or get in contact with me right when the Erskin Music Show is started, And so I realize who's not watching the show because they're usually asking me about stuff that doesn't have to do with the show. I'm like, exposed. You're out there asking me about this because you're not watching the show, because if you were watching the show, you'd answer the question. Answer the question.
I bet I'm guilty of that sometimes. Yeah. Marco Poloing and
it's all good. So we got into a couple of topics today that, kind of easing our way into this. The resurrection was one of those topics. Let's just kind of celebrate that for a second, because that was the devotion that I began with today. And you got scripture.
Where'd you go?
I did 1 Corinthians 15. And I did verses 1 through 9.
Can I share one thing?
You can share 1, 2, 3. How many things can she share? Let's take a poll.
Take a poll. There's that poll.
What? We're racing. This show is always going forward. This is like the Gospel of Mark. It's just going forward.
Yes, okay.
And if it's a good devotion today, then we're going to give the dolphins will come out.
That's okay.
Yeah.
They can stay. I mean, in their natural environment.
No dolphins are harmed on this show
right.
in any of the production of the show.
Very good. Or race cars, I guess. Either.
No race cars are driven in the show.
So there is just a few years ago that I don't remember the context, but somebody shared this. Maybe it was in a Bible study I was doing, and it was in Romans 1. And I don't know that I ever realized this. So Romans 1, in verse 4, it talks about, well, if you back it up a little bit, Paul's greeting everybody and talks about the Holy Scriptures regarding his son. And of course, Easter is all about the son, who, as to his human nature, was a descendant of David. Okay. And then who through the Spirit of holiness was declared with power to be the Son of God by his resurrection from the dead, Jesus Christ the Lord. And that in Romans 1:4 basically is what I was looking at. It kind of blew my mind, because there's so much in an argument if somebody's talking to you about Jesus is not real and does it matter that Jesus is any different than any other prophet or any other religion? And this is context for that, because it puts him fully human because of the line of David, and fully God, and with power through the resurrection, he was raised from the dead. It went, and I love that. So I always go back to that. And what a great time to be celebrating that truth and to be able to share that with people out of Romans 1.
Amazing. That's beautiful devotion there today. So the dolphins get a chance to come out and celebrate. She's getting used to my sound effects.
I'm trying to embrace them, actually.
Yeah. Maybe there's some people who watch because of the sound effects.
Let's take a poll.
Can we get a poll out there?
Let's take a poll.
Poll is going up. Are you watching the show simply because of the sound effects and really don't care much about the commentary? Or is it the other way around? You care about the commentary and don't like the dolphins and the race cars? And before you leave, I'm going to give you my favorite one, because this is live from like Nashville area. So
I need to see, you have to vote with emoji, with the little hand raise.
They can do that.
If you only
Twitch,
for
you people like to put stuff on my show, so raise your hand. Raise your hand. Anyway, Twitch people keep trying to embed like viruses and stuff in my show.
I'm kind of afraid to look down, but that's where all the comments are. So
I'll put. Well, yeah, this is true. My whole setup it's goofed up. I'm looking down, looking up. Normally, I have my notes over there. You see on that little pad over there.
Yeah.
But I'm not using any notes today. This is all freestyle. But here's something that I wanted to say, though. I did appreciate the invitation to come and be on the show today. And something very unique, I guess, ish happened today. We're good friends. We talk a lot.
Right.
We talk about a variety of things. And it's kind of a testament to sort of the community, the friendship that we have, in the fact that here I am on the show, and it's a black guy on the show. And we didn't spend the entire time talking about race issues and how difficult things are, and give us the black perspective on things. And we didn't do that because there are so many other things in our lives to talk about, and I just really appreciate that. I just want to say thank you for that.
You're welcome. And on the flip side of that, when that is something that we want to talk about, of course,
we can talk about that.
We call lots of friends. We have. I mean, you call me, I call you.
Yep.
It's a two-way conversation. And I so appreciate that that can be, because we keep saying conversation, conversation, and that's fantastic because that's where it has to start. And then what?
And then it's community.
So community.
Yeah.
So thanks.
And I know that's kind of a buzzword and everything, but I mean, we've had meals together. You came to my son's baptism, went out to eat after that. We've played bags before. We've done, significant life things. And I really think that that's where the conversation needs to find itself expressing into these actual relationships, where people begin to get with one another, and they begin, reaching out to you, and, some of the loss that you've had in your family, and, just strengthening those relationships that you have, not just having conversation.
Right.
And so that's been the unique part and the beautiful part as well.
You miss out. Listen, if you don't meet people different than yourself, then you miss out. You miss out. I almost, this is an oversimplification, but I used to be somewhat of a picky eater. And then I realized that I was going to miss out on so much if I didn't try different things.
Oh.
And that I might learn to like other things. I didn't have to just be kind of what I was used to, what I was raised on. And so I kind of broadened my horizons. But I feel that way with people too. If you don't meet someone that has different experiences than you, has maybe different context of things, you're going to miss out.
Yeah. And so we talked a little bit about just sort of fleshing out various relationships and at least understanding from a wider perspective when we were talking about, is it possible to be too spiritual? So take us back to that conversation and maybe set that up in a way that my audience can kind of understand, because you'd made the comment in the statement, is it possible to be too spiritual? Because could you over spiritualize something? And you said, well, no. And I said, well, maybe. And so that kind of gave us an opportunity to throw that word out there. Well, what is the context in which this is being said? Because the context is going to dictate really the answer to that question, because it could go both ways. So take us back to a little bit of that conversation and kind of what your thinking was, even asking the question. Give us context.
I see right now you need a new charger cord. Okay. Context is everything.
I needed a lot of things. Hold on. Time out.
I just noticed. So this charger cord is hanging down from the phone, the camera, down to the computer. And I'm looking at it because it's attached to the phone. And all of a sudden it registered what I'm looking at. Is that a fire hazard?
No, it's okay. No, the building won't burn down.
You'll get a new one, but it might be pink. So context is everything. When somebody has said to me,
she's coming in cleaning house. She's like, okay, you need to do this and that. That don't look good, and that don't look good. And
appearance? No, I'm not. No.
You've been in this game for a long time. You know you got to start out with some.
Right there. That's a safety issue.
No, there's nothing wrong with that. That's perfectly. It's got tape on it.
Tape on it. That is a safety issue.
Come on, you're not supposed to call my little set out like that.
Sorry. Behind the
Anyway, as we were saying,
context is everything. Context is key. Definitions are key. You broadened my horizons on this today, because I was thinking about some conversations that I've had where I'm talking about choices that I make and trying to follow the Lord in some things where I know He's already been clear on it. Forgiveness, joy, peace, contentedness. And I'm kind of one of those people that I want to work through the hard stuff really fast and get back to peace and joy and patience and have all the fruit of the Spirit in place. I don't get it right. I don't. But this is just kind of inwardly where I want to be. So if I can work through the 5 stages of grief in 5 minutes, that's great. And I know it's not realistic, but you get what I'm saying. You want to get back to just that place of trusting the Lord with all the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been in several conversations where I was talking about that, and the response from a fellow believer was, I think you're over spiritualizing this. And I've been thinking, you're a Christ follower. Can you over spiritualize something? And then you brought up the fact that if you're not careful with context, you could over spiritualize something. For instance, you could apply spiritual principles to bad behavior. Okay.
We've seen some of that.
And that grieves me. Oh, it grieves me. It grieves me for myself when I want to put a verse on something that I'm just trying to justify my bad behavior. No, that's in my context. That's not where I was coming from. But it made me really, really think. And so when I look at Ephesians 6 and I see that we live in this spiritual battle, and it's a constant spiritual battle, and you're not wrestling with flesh and blood, but principalities, to me, that says we are engaged constantly in some type of spiritual context. Therefore, can you over spiritualize something? I say it can't be done.
Yeah.
Now, can you misuse it? Absolutely. And I think we've all done it. And if we haven't done it, we might not be telling the truth.
Well, yeah. And that's the thing, that every moment is really a spiritual moment in a certain context. But to be overly spiritual, I mean, we'd have to be Jesus to be supremely dialed into that spirituality all the time and completely locked in.
Exactly.
I mean, we're not what we will be. We're not what we were. And so the sanctification is working its way out in our lives. But I also brought up the standpoint of like being a monk. Like that can seem like a very, in certain categories, spiritual activity where you're there in prayer and meditation and you're feasting upon God, and you're fasting, you're doing all these different things. And yet there's a world that's around you that's dying and they're in need, and you're not responding to that world because it's more of an inward thing. Well, you're doing some supremely spiritual stuff. That'd be kind of like the same thing as maybe somebody who's saying, you know what, I'm not going to go to work today because I just want to spend time with God. I just want to pray and I just want to fast and I just want to be super spiritual and read scripture. No, get your butt up and go to work. Like that's what you're required to do today. Your spiritual thing is going and providing for your family. So you're not going to be able to cop out and sit back and say, hey, I'm just having a spiritual moment with the Lord and we just can't interrupt this. And, that can go on and on and on and on. You can get to the workplace and be like, I want to be super spiritual, so I'm not going to do this next segment because I just feel like the prayers that I want to pray are so important right now that I'm not going to show up and be present for the spiritual thing that I'm supposed to be doing, which is ministering on the radio. Yeah.
On the flip side of that, maybe God does say, hey, I want you to take a vacation day and I want you to spend this with me. But we can't do that. And then when we do have free time, binge watch whatever.
Sure.
Because that's what we decide to do with our free time. I mean, there's accountability there, I think, for.
Yeah.
But I mean, you of all people. You of all people. I don't know how to do this. I don't know how to look at you and look at the camera. You of all people.
Don't look at me. Look at the camera.
You of all people. But when God does direct, I mean, he's not directing you not to go to your job and do what he's given you to do, to provide. But you also know what it looks like when he says, I'm closing. I want you to go this direction.
Right.
So, sorry about that.
No, that's okay. You just hit my little setup and just
pop with my hands.
Just bust my stuff up. Sorry, I don't have two microphones.
I can't hurt this stuff.
Oh, man.
I cannot.
Look at this.
What happened?
I don't know. It does.
On or off?
It does weird things. I don't know why it does that.
I didn't
you just hit my thing and you just messed it up.
I didn't touch it.
You broke it.
I don't think I could really hurt that cord anyway. I'm pretty sure. The only thing that could hurt that cord is a pair of scissors.
People, there's no danger involved in this show.
I'm going to take a picture.
No dolphins are harmed in this. No race cars are driven through the set at inappropriate speeds. And this cord is fine.
I will be ordering you a new phone cord.
Once you see what this cord is, just a USB cord. I mean, there's no thing that runs through that. I mean, it's basically like Bluetooth.
There's tape on the cord, Erskin.
Yeah, this is the cosmetics. She doesn't like the cosmetics of the cord, and it's like messing up this entire interview, just because she doesn't like the. Come on, bring her on the show. She's like beating up my microphone and like clicking the camera off, and I didn't
do that.
Well,
I'll take responsibility for what I did do, but I didn't.
Yeah. Well, we got, this is that show where we got a lot of things going on, and it's a good show, but we got dolphins in the show, we got race cars in the show.
It's a good show.
And
dolphins
so
and race cars.
we're still working on some of the technology. We're working on that. It's effort. People are out there working right now to specifically get better equipment
That's
for
kind.
for the show. Yeah,
How wonderful.
that is really a kind thing. People
Excellent.
called me and they said, "Hey, we want to start a fundraiser and we want your show to get better." And
Yeah.
I mean, it's very much an encouragement for those that are watching the show and they're like, "Man, you could reach a lot of people and do a lot of great things." But it's also kind of a reminder of like, and the bootleg chord, like we could do better than that. Like, so I'll take that.
You use what you have until you have something different.
Yeah.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit, now that you're talking about that, tell us a little bit about how you got started in radio and how you kind of came to where you're at today, because that was an interesting story. Every time I hear that, people think, or people don't think, that's the problem. People don't think like the voice that we're hearing on the radio, there's years of experience behind this. She didn't just start the day. If you would have seen this was like somebody playing piano. She has one button over here and she's pushing this and she's making this happen. And then she's answering the phone and then she's doing the weather. And then there's all of these things that are going on there. And I'm just sitting back there going, whoa, that's amazing. I can't even get a camera to work. And like you're operating all these.
You've got all this.
Yeah. The camera's barely working, but it's good that I closed the window back there because that was, yeah, I was kind of like a glare on my face.
And my hair just.
I was whiter than you because of that glare. So. Get out of the glare.
It's fascinating though how God will open doors, and listening to how the Lord led you and Kelly here from Texas and into music when that wasn't kind of your thing. And radio for me is very similar in that. And back in the 80s, big hair and all, I needed a job, and there was this. We used to go to the newspapers. I don't know if you remember this, but the newspapers and look at
what's a newspaper?
Yeah. Now just think about the ads that come for like Kroger or something, and then no. But there was an ad there, and they needed somebody at a Christian radio station. And I thought, okay, maybe I'll just apply. I mean, that might be fun. I had no idea what it was. I had no experience at all. And when I went to apply for the job, they needed 1 hour of live, so just playing the Christian music and talking in the morning, weather, whatever. And then 7 hours of pushing buttons, reel to reel and cassettes and carts and everything. I applied for the job. They wanted somebody with experience, but they were paying minimum wage, which I think back then was like $5.50. And I said, you know what? You want experience. I get that. I don't have experience, but I'm willing to take that wage. And I'm pretty sure that anybody with experience is not willing to take that wage. So give me a chance. If it doesn't work out, no harm, no foul, we'll part ways. So they gave me a chance, and I did it for 8 months, and I got a lot of great training. And then I was done. And I was done for me because it didn't fit in my school schedule anymore. I was still in college, and I needed to quit. So I did. The guy I worked with was from Pentwater, Michigan. And when I got my dream job, can I say where? At State Farm?
Go ahead.
So my daddy was a State Farm
You can
agent.
say State Farm. State Farm. State Farm.
Well, no,
we have
you can't
State Farm.
All that. Yeah. So I got my.
This is the Erskin Music Show. You can say whatever you want to. I have a censorship button, so if you get out of.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Don't button.
Yeah.
There it is. You can just do that over everything I say, and perfect. So I took this job and left the job because I needed, again, a job that was going to fit with my school schedule. Never thought a thing about it. I go to State Farm. I get my dream job. I'm in corporate America. I meet Ben May. We get married. That's a whole testimony in and of itself, but we get married. But I wanted to invite this guy and his wife, the one that I worked for at the station, to our wedding. I didn't know what it was. All I heard was he'd moved back to Michigan. We get married in October. In December, I'm sitting at my desk. I get this call, and it's him. I'm like, where have you been? What's going on in it? And well, we moved back. He said, but I want you to come up to Michigan and do a radio show, like a morning radio show. We'll co-host it. And I'm like,
nope. There it is.
Nope.
Whoop, there it is.
Mm-hmm.
No.
I go, and Ben and I worked in opposite offices at this point, and I go home, and he was a new believer, relatively new, year and a half. And I said, you're never going to believe who called today. And I told him the whole thing. And he said, bless him, he said, well, how long would they give you to pray about it? And I'm like, I'd been a believer a long time. I said, honey, they didn't need to pray about this stuff. We just, in my mind, I'm thinking, we just say no. And I said, oh no. He said, let's pray about it and see what happens. And the doors
Oh,
flew open. We ended up in West Michigan for 12 years, got more radio experience there. When I left there, again, I thought I was done. It was always seasons. The Lord always brought me in for seasons. And then we come down here to Tennessee, and once again, somebody said, "Hey, would you ever go back?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know," but I've learned to say I'll pray about it. So
look at the progression here.
since 2007, in some form or capacity, I've been here at Moody Radio, and really honored.
Yeah.
Honored to be here.
So, I mean, if you ever get a chance to listen to the morning show, so talented, Steve and Don and Steve. You were here when there was no Steve, and Steve has come on and has made the show better. And
Yeah.
I mean, they do a fantastic job, and they are right where God has placed them. And it's an encouragement to me to see and to hear when I'm going to the gym, you guys on the radio, and just how just professional, but yet
Thanks.
still ministerial you guys are. And, Lord is doing some great things in using radio, and Moody Radio in particular, a brand sponsor of mine, to reach people all around the world, literally.
Thank you. We're honored to be here. We're no Erskin.
Well, you don't have this sound effect. So once
I just want to know, did you record that?
That was not me
Can you
beatboxing.
beatbox?
I can beatbox, and I can actually probably beatbox better than that. But that was just the soundtrack that we had. Yeah.
I think my oldest could do that.
Yeah, I mean, it's good for beatbox. I mean, I've got a number of different things that I can dial up over here. But before we go, we're going to get the Nashville salute to Nashville before you leave. But one more quick thing, because I won't hold you up. I know you've been on the air all morning, as we all have been, and you've got things that you need to do. Kind of told a little bit about your story, kind of how you've come up. What have been some of the most, because I feel like a Walter Cronkite or a Larry King when I asked this question, but you've been on air during some of the most epic times in American history. There have been pandemics, there have been riots, there have been all sorts of things that have required you. Now, this is something that you don't know, but when you're live and on air and there's things that are going on in the country and in society, like, you don't get a chance to not respond. And so you have to respond to some of those things. What have been some of the most memorable experiences where you've just literally had to just lean in, no notes, no preparation really, but this is where America's at, this is where the world is at, and you're having to lean in and say a word of encouragement to people who are in that place?
I will never forget. And you can probably tell me the year, but I can't, because your current event memory is so much stronger than mine. But I know this, it was about 5 or 6 years ago, and I was only doing fill-in work here, and I would be here for our fundraisers. And it was the morning after the shootings in Texas, the officer-involved shootings in Texas.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was about 5 years ago.
Yep. And I walk in, and of course you check headlines right away. I was just filling in that morning, and I check headlines, and I'm like, oh no. Oh, and your heart breaks. No matter what the situation is, your heart breaks. And I'm thinking, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do. Lord, what do I do? And there was part of me, remember I told you I like peace.
Mm-hmm.
I like gentleness. So I'm thinking, how can I just provide peace and gentleness today, Lord? How can we do that? And there was something in my spirit that kept saying, you have to address this. You cannot just pretend you didn't read the headline or hear about it. And so I'm working through a little bit of the early on in the morning, and the Spirit impresses upon me so strongly to address it. So we do talk about just kind of the facts as we knew them, prayed, talked about heartbreak and loss and how we lament together. And then later in the morning, we get something from higher up the Moody Radio food chain that said, you have to address this. And I'm like, Jesus, thank you, because I knew it was his Spirit that said to step into that, and was thankful that in those moments he gives you what you need to say. And sometimes all you can do is cry together. That in the moment of the crisis, the only thing you can do is engage in lament, because
that's good.
You can't know every circumstance. And the headlines are only going to tell you what the headlines want you to know. And so we're inferring a lot of things. We're guessing. We're trying to make sense of why this would happen, how it went down. But what we know is there was a loss of life and somebody pulled the trigger. That's what we know. We're absolute sure. Which means that at least two in that situation, there was many more than two, but at least two people have been impacted, which means two families have been impacted, which means you can lament safely with 10 people probably.
Yeah.
And just engage in the sorrow of the situation as it becomes clearer what actually happened. But circumstances matter, and how it happened and why it happened, they matter. The loss is still loss. And I've learned that through losing daddy. My daddy passed away in November, and there's all kinds of circumstances surrounding
Yeah.
it. But the loss of that family member is a loss. And how to deal with that, friends come alongside and lament. And sometimes that's all you can do, but it's also depending on the moment and depending on who, how, when, where, why, it's enough for that moment.
Yeah. Yeah. I like that. All you can do, but again, it's probably what you should do. I just got finished reading the book of Job yesterday. And as I'm watching Job and his three friends, and then this young buck Eliphaz who wants to speak into the situation, and they're all just making a hash of this thing. And they should have stopped before they started. And you get a chance to see that kind of poured out there, and it really becomes an instructive counseling manual. Like, those three friends, don't do what they did, because that was completely unhelpful. But yeah, that you guys made an impression on me last year. Of course, I'd known of you guys before, and we'd had some wonderful interviews and different things that we talked about. But the last year, when you guys were about ready to go into your spring share, and there's this pandemic that's taking place, and then there's a lot of racial tension and violence, and you guys just kind of camped on that for a while, and you said, you know what, there's some things that we had regularly scheduled. We're going to push those things and allow the season and the moment and the time that we're in not to be overshadowed with, we got to get to the next news story, and we got to get to the next thing, and then we have an agenda here, and so but really just kind of sitting in that place. And I thought, wow, they are really listening, I believe, to the voice of the Holy Spirit that is telling them to just pause, hear some other voices, respond, lament, recognize the place where we're at, and then live there alongside of people who are also grieving and trying to come to terms with this process. And so that was extremely impressive last year, that as
our leadership
conglomerate that you guys were able to pull back the reins and say, okay, there's something bigger than just what we had scheduled in our agenda. And the Lord has helped you guys even in the midst of that, because you guys have been in the subsequent shares, have been meeting those and reaching those budgets, and even here in Nashville exceeding those. And so that's, I think, a testament to you guys' faithfulness in that area.
We're thankful that when leadership listens, I mean, and that's all of us, right? Because we all have leadership responsibilities in our own worlds. But when we listen to the Lord, there's just nothing better to your spirit than that. And I was so grateful to our leadership for responding in that way, because you sensed it. You knew, how are we going to talk about spring share when our world is falling apart?
Yeah.
And they totally embraced that so that we could just sit in it together, because sometimes that's what you got to do.
That was classy. Good job, Moody Radio. I don't know who's down the hall there, but maybe Scott can hears from here.
Pass it along. Yeah. We appreciate that. Thank you. The affirmation is not unheard. It's appreciated.
So you guys were awesome. All right, go and drink a coffee or some apple cider vinegar or whatever it is that you guys do at this point. You've been up since what, 3 o'clock in the morning?
3:30 today.
2:30 in the morning. It is now 9:47 here. And, she did a 3-hour show, and she came on here for about 35, 40 minutes. And so we're going to let her go and get some rest, some coffee.
Thanks for the invite.
Yeah. You're coming back to the show at some point. You're a friend of the show.
Thank you.
And because this is Nashville, Tennessee, you get the country music button. Are you ready for this? Are you ready to dance a little bit? Yeah, get to two-stepping. Are you ready? She wasn't ready for that. I can tell she wasn't ready for that.
That's the best we got.
Well,
that's the best we got. We're in Nashville. That's the best we got.
Yeah, it was a kind of a Nashville underhanded joke there. But yeah, go and celebrate today.
On that note,
we didn't do what we said we were gonna do.
Oh, what did we say we were gonna
do? Well, but we can't do it now.
No, I understand, but that I'll be prepared for next time.
Well,
was that off topic?
No, you were completely on. But the next April 1st.
That's on you. You want to take that on? That's on you.
All right. Well, we'll let that one go today. But we had a very powerful discussion about April Fool's Day, and we were gonna pull one on you today, but we decided not to.
I voted no
because I
was trying to keep him out of trouble.
So she got one pulled on her. She didn't appreciate that kind of April Fool's stuff, and so yeah, we'll just let that go.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Moody Radio, thank you guys so much for letting me do the show from here. I'm going to sit in your chair if you don't mind. That's I'm way down here. Here, let me get up here. I'm the host of this thing. All right. There we were. All right. Well, we're going to taper down the conversation at this point because man, we've been, like I said, she's been up since 2:30. I've probably been up since about 4. And yeah, stuff is good. Comment section. You guys were a little quiet today, but I understand you guys got things to do. And again, if you're supposed to be working right now, I know that the time is 9 o'clock. That's usually when people show up for work. If you're working in an office building, doing whatever it is that you do, don't cheat your employer. Get in there and do a good job. If you're able to listen to this and it's okay with your employer that you listen to stuff in the background, I certainly would encourage you guys. Yeah, let's have some background noise. It's Erskin Music, the Erskin Music Show. We got a couple songs, or at least one song that I want to play for you guys today. Let's get some stuff up there on the screen. And got a song of the day. And if nobody has any requests, and I'll wait for just a moment to see if anybody has any requests, I'm going back with the man, there's so many good songs there. Probably gonna look up here. So you guys can do requests while we do the song right here. This is the Erskin Music Show, so you're gonna get a little bit of music today. Here we go with Look.
When I think I know you, it's funny how I run to a make-believe, even preconceived perception. Oh no, I guess I'm running too fast for things that really won't last. It's an interview with a finding you getting lost while holding a map to give sight to the blind. Up my eyes, now I see the mystery. You are all I need. I'm not wise enough to know everything that you have done, but this I know, this I know. You are king of everything, all my hopes and every dream. So I can follow, yeah. It's better that I don't know how you make the stars glow, or how the universe is compared to you like a grain of sand in your hand. It's time to make some changes, open up the spaces. I want the world to see what you did in me. Gave me joy that'll never leave. You gave sight to the blind, open up my eyes. Now I see it's a mystery. You are all I need. I'm not wise enough to know everything that you have done, but this follow, yeah, yeah. I used to think I was the captain of my soul. I was the one who won the battles on my own. I'm stronger, I'm wiser, vision is clearer. Now I know that you're nearer. I'm not wise enough to know everything that you've done, but this I know, this I know. You are king of everything, all my hopes and every dream. Look up, so I can follow, yeah, yeah. I'm not wise enough to know everything that you have done. This I know, yeah, yeah. You are king of everything, all my hopes and every dream. Look up, so I can follow, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Look up. And we're here in the Erskin Music Show. So decided you guys should probably have a little bit of Erskin music there. So yeah, we'll sign off for today. It's been a great show. We had special guest here, Don Ray May. If you missed any of that conversation that we were able to have, kind of an ongoing, we've had about a 3.5 hour now conversation today, from getting here early in the morning, about 5 o'clock. And so glad that she was able to share some of those early experiences. For any of you guys who are out there, music artists or social media influencers that are out there, recognize that that is not an overnight process. You put in the time, you put in the work, you get some opportunities, you get a couple of breaks. I'm fortunate and very blessed to be a part of the Moody family in the, extended capacity, so that there's opportunities where I can actually come in the studio and fill in on certain days. And so that's been a lot of fun to learn this side of the experience and to, have Erskin music literally playing all over the Nashville area. And so grateful to those guys for them being promoters of Erskin music and a lot of the wonderful things that we're doing. Again, a note out there, because a lot of you guys are related to me by various venues that I've traveled to and opportunities that we've had either to serve together or to be in close proximity to one another. And that really is a beautiful thing, especially in the time that we're living in now, where there's people who are beginning kind of to travel a little bit more and establish some deeper roots in community. That's been so vitally important. And I just, I encourage you guys, as you feel comfortable doing that, to get out there and really stress and press into some community aspects. And especially as Sunday approaches, Resurrection Sunday, and the celebration of the resurrection. Actually, every Sunday is Resurrection Sunday. Just thought I'd let you know that. But in particular, this Sunday, there's going to be a lot of attention and focus. And so I pray that this would be a week where the Church of Jesus Christ would reconnect, and there'd be people who perhaps are away and have been away from the church who would perhaps feel comfortable this week coming to whatever services their church has. And as the, body of Christ gathers together, we gather to worship and we scatter to witness. And so I pray that the knowledge of God and the love of God would continue to be made manifest all over the place. This song is called Come Get It. Come get it, come get it. And I wanted to end with this song today. I'm not going to play the usual outro, but check the song out, Come Get It. It's been the Erskin Music Show, the special guest Thursday edition of it, the April Fool's edition. And I was going to play a joke on you guys, but
if y'all really want to come get it, I know my God loves it, he's in it. On the mic now, I keep it tight now. I represent with it, yeah. If y'all really want to come get it, I know my God loves it, he's in it. On the mic now, I keep it tight now. I represent with it, yeah. About about Jesus. I gave you 3 reasons. The way, the truth, the life like that. So you can tell your friends in the back, yeah. Yeah, it's stand up time. Motivated like the old school rhymes. But would you put your name on the line? To put Jesus' name in the line. They say I shouldn't flow like that, but I don't think they know I'm like that. I read it from the front to the back. Holy Spirit like the book of Acts. If y'all really want it, come get it. I know my God loves it, He's in it. On the mic now, I keep it tight now. I represent with it, yeah. If y'all really want it, come get it. I know my God loves it, He's in it. On the mic now, I keep it tight now. I represent with it, yeah. Okay, Jesus is the way. I got that down now. I just strive for the mark now. I just can't put the book down, no. I gotta walk like a disciple. I follow Christ like a holy piper. I keep a journal, yeah, He made me a writer. I got these strings and I keep it much tighter. So if you got the skills to flow, then you got the mind to know. No matter how hard you go, Jesus is the star of the show. If y'all really want it, come get it. I know my God loves it, He's in it. On the mic now, I keep it tight now. I represent with it, yeah. If y'all really want it, come get it. I know my God loves it, He's in it. On the mic now, I keep it tight now. I represent with it.